Hold up, man. My cup behind there. Wait a minute. What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? This is the last one for the day, man. I'm outside in the Philippines trying to show y'all some of this Philippine world. Check this out. Check this out without a doubt. Breaking the shocking truth behind why Diddy judge keeps denying him bail. Why does Diddy just keep denying him bail? Well, because he know, like everybody else know, that he should be doing some time for what he did. I think that's what I think that's what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I really think that's what it is. But anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Let's hit this.
Welcome back. We're shining our spotlight this morning on the case against Sean Diddy Combs and his latest push to get out of jail.
Well, Diddy's latest move failed badly. His latest bid to get out of jail has been denied again. Let's cut to the chase. Hi and welcome to Polymathic Talk. Whatever Diddy and his legal team throw at the judge, nothing seems to stick. Despite numerous attempts offering $50 million and his ex-girlfriend wading into the issue of her support for Diddy to be released from bail, nothing seems to stick. The judge continues to deny him bail, and it did not go down well by many of Diddy's supporters. But why is the judge continue to deny Diddy bail? The shocking truth behind the judge keeping Diddy in jail is about to be surfaced. So Diddy and his legal team submit a motion for release.
Sure. So the Mann Act was passed in 1910, but really what it's geared at, what it's focused on, is prosecuting people who make money from the business of prostitution. And that's not the allegation against Mr. Combs. The allegation of Mr. Combs, what the jury found, essentially was that he was a user.
The prosecution rejected the motion and say there is no legal justification for it.
Prosecutors have now responded to Sean Diddy Combs' second plea for bail. Combs asked a federal judge to reconsider letting him out on $50 million bail as he awaits sentencing in October. Prosecutors argue Combs' detention pending sentencing is mandatory, that there are no exceptional circumstances justifying his release, and they go on to argue that he's a danger to the community.
So all hopes now rest on Donald Trump for a pardon or subsequently an appeal further down.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours. Would you ever consider pardoning him?
I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Diddy's supporters were excited and believe that there is hope. And while they were excited, there has been a setback.
Diddy Combs,
Right.
would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something. But he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. And seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs,
I would say so.
And after all hopes are gone in relation to Trump's pardon, then people have been suggesting that Diddy's legal team threw another hat in the ring, although there's no evidence to back that up. But coming to Diddy's support was his girlfriend Gina.
An ex-girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs is asking a New York judge to free him while he awaits sentencing. In a letter, Gina Wynn writes that Combs is not a danger to the community. She described him as a family man who has not been violent in many years.
But a judge delivered the deadly blow yesterday, and Diddy will remain in jail without bail until sentencing.
Got to get to some breaking news just as we've been on the air with a judge in literally the last maybe 10 minutes denying Diddy's motion for bail, meaning Sean Combs is going to stay behind bars until his sentencing in 2 months from now. Let me bring in Yasmin Vasugian, who's covering this story for us. Yas, we're going to get to all of this, but let's start with this ruling that just came in.
Yeah.
Do we know anything else? What else can you tell us?
Yeah, so essentially what we're learning from this judge, I mean, it's some of the same reasoning that we heard with the initial ruling when the defense also asked for instance, him to be released on $50 billion bail, in which case they're saying essentially that he failed to provide burden of proof as to why he should be released on this $50 million bail. Also citing his previous criminal background along with being a potential danger to society. So I don't think it's necessarily a surprise how that this denial came in, that in fact Sean Diddy Combs at this point will have to wait inside that prison in Brooklyn until his sentencing on October 3rd. But nonetheless, I also think that amidst all of this, it is incredibly likely that his defense attorneys will pursue other avenues in which they'll seek to have bail granted on his behalf and leading up to October 3rd.
Yes, this was a major blow for Diddy and his legal team. And despite his ex-girlfriend came forward and wrote a letter in his defense by writing, and I quote, "I'm writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. This is his first criminal case. Throughout the investigation and proceedings, he has been cooperative, respectful, and compliant." That didn't wash very easily with the judge. But why is the judge keeping Diddy in jail despite that what he's been convicted of does not entail any violence or any sort of violent nature? Well, Jane testified under oath that Diddy has been violent towards her in 2023. She said he put her in a chokehold, punched her in the head, forced her to take drugs, and made her to perform certain type of activities under escort. That was recent, so I presume that's what the judge is looking at. But the judge failed to see that in 2024, Jane also testified that she attacked him first, and she was the one who instigated the violence. The testimony found, it has been reported, that she said she pushed his head into a marble countertop, threw candles, and locked herself in a room. So she made it absolutely clear that when she pushed his head, she pressed on it very hard, it has been reported, and she said she gave it a good shot. And apart from throwing candles with some wax landing on his clothing, and as she yelled that she sort of hated him, she made that clear to the court, and that was violence towards Mr. Combs. So why is he being kept locked up still? Could this also be the other reasons why the judge are locking him up? His new girlfriend, Gina. The judge may be thinking that Diddy and his team may have allegedly set up Gina to write this letter. We see no evidence of that whatsoever anyway. I believe that Gina just did it of her own free will based on the relationship she's had with him. Of course, there's been reports of her talking to other vloggers, and there's been suggestion that he was violent towards her as well. But those are the two reasons I can come up with to see why the judge is keeping him in jail, saying that he has violence tendencies. Now, the judge ignored that Jane attacked him in one occasion, and yes, of course, there was a 2023 fracas, but apart from that, all the other violence that surfaced in the court came from over 10-12 years ago. So why is he being kept in jail? And we can only conclude that the shocking truth is that because he has been violent in 2023 and the judge ignored Jane's attack on him, which was more recent than the one on her, and the judge also failed to consider that most of his violent tendencies were over 10-12 years ago. But it's a bit unfair because Cassie submitted a letter that Diddy should not be released. Gina submitted a letter, but the judge gave little weight to Gina's letter and gave a lot of weight to Cassie's. So now it's your turn to have a debate about this in the comment section. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and I shall see you on the other topic.
Man, that's clear. That is clear. The reason why they didn't, Cassie's letter was leaning toward what the judge was going to do in the first place anyway. So that ain't got nothing to do with that. And this girl with her little letter, after she done been on all kinds of talk shows, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, these people going on them talk shows and all these podcasts and YouTube channels ain't doing nothing but hurting themselves. They ain't doing nothing but hurting themselves. Look here, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here. It is hotter than 100 hamburgers out here in the Philippines. I'm gonna go take me a shower and chilly willy on out. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.